Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and this week we are going to be reviewing Chapter 1040, Falling on Deaf Ears. And we start off with another Vinsmoke cover page with showing Niji and Yonji getting messed up by Big Mom back then, and you see them trapped in the book. Now, what I kind of find a little interesting point right here is that I remember when the Vinsmokes were being introduced to Big Mom's library with all her creatures catched. It was Yonji and Niji in particular who were interested in the books and checking everything out. So, which is funny because they're the ones that are now a part of the books.
I never realized that when it. I don't remember that happening, but I'll take your word for it.
It was just a scene that kind of stuck out to me. It was also the same scene where that random fodder came running in, and he was all, "Oh, the Vinsmokes are so cool, especially like Reiju and Ichiji." And then Big Mom got pissed off, thinking that they were cool just because of the way they look, essentially, which is kind of another interesting dimension to her character. But yeah, those are just kind of my thoughts on the cover page. What about you?
Yeah, not much more to say. At least we see how they got taken out. At least it was by Big Mom, rather than any of the other people.
And they were the ones fighting her on the chateau, remember? And she took them out there too. So she's kind of finishing the job, if you will.
I mean, how bad do you have to be beaten by Big Mom, who just constantly takes L's? Speaking of which, this chapter.
Great segue. So we have a good old kid doing his thing, getting a good shot in. And it kind of looks like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, where you see the panel is his current location. It looks like the laser's going through the island.
It's kind of looking like that, but at the same time, if you look at the panel, it's clearly not like he's not piercing through her, and it doesn't look like the beam's wide enough to like go around her body. It's not like encompassing her body, so I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of showing, like, I think that might be the hole that Law made last time, and if that's the case, then it's even deeper than we thought.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting panel. Maybe Oda was just trying to emphasize the force there, and I get some people were kind of clowning him where she's like smirking, like ha ha ha, and people are inferring like, oh, this is weak, But really, I think obviously she's in pain, just in the previous panels and just the first one of this chapter. Like, it wasn't enough to blow her away initially, right? And she also said this attack is tickling me, but come on, she's kind of full of shit.
Yeah.
She had blood coming out of her mouth last chapter,
Yeah. Well, I think this might... I was reading up on some of the comments that people were saying about this interaction in particular, and I think that she might be trying to, like, bluff, kind of saying, like, oh, like, this isn't hurting me at all, and to, like, try and get her lifer slave ability to work on them, because they have to be afraid. And if they're like, oh, my attacks aren't doing anything, even though this is, like, my strongest attack, that would cause a little bit of fear.
Yeah, so people are kind of like saying this is just her last card to kind of like, she had no more power to do anything else. That's why she needed the souls of these people, basically, right? So that's why she started using Soul Polkas. And, everybody's like, okay, we need to get out of here. And this is where Law uses his new attack, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of forgiving about Law's stamina thing, saying that he improved, but this looks like a new awakening attack, because he's attaching it to Big Mom, and it follows her.
That, and I guess what it kind of reminds me of is the fire with Luffy's Red Hawk, where I think in some sense, if you get to a level with your Devil Fruit, you can mimic other Devil Fruits, right? In some sense, honestly, I love Corazon. He's one of my favorite characters in the series, so it warmed my heart to kind of see that callback. And I think, Kind of like with Sanji's power-ups too. When it's built into their character and their motivations and their struggles, I think it's just awesome. I think it's something special to One Piece that Oda can use their power-ups to further flesh out their character, you know?
Yeah. And, I mean, I think this is just an extension of his ability naturally, because he can control anything within the room. And and who says he can't remove the sound? He can chop people up in the room.
Yeah. Exactly. And you know, I think there's kind of a creativity dynamic with One Piece. It's not stuck in these categories, you know? And I think that's kind of part of Oda's goofy nature, you know? But it's goofy in also more badass way, because that panel where Law's doing the flip in the air with the sword and Kid doing the damn punk again.
Yeah.
And, you know, it looks devastating. You know, she's in more pain. It seems like, oh, this is you're tickling me. I think it's more like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to be okay soon. I'm going to get some souls, and then I'm going to be at full HP, basically. But she didn't get that option. So, no, it's not a tickle anymore, you know?
Yeah. Do you think that her level of strength corresponds to the misery attack that Law cuts in half? Because it doesn't even look like Law's using hockey or anything on his blade to cut misery. So
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
because otherwise that's just another point in Law's favor compared to Kid.
It is. I think but there is also an essential aspect here where it's the heavy hitter, and then Law weakens her, basically. And you can't really have one without the other, I think, in this scenario. And also, Law is like a really hard counter to her, because her attack depends heavily on vocal commands, basically. And Law completely negated that from her, you know? So
that's true.
Kind of like with sugar, right? Powerful fruit, but if you don't have the physical body to get to it, you're kind of out of luck, you know? But yeah, so Law is just a super hard counter, and I think that kind of, I mean, no, obviously they're very powerful now, but that explains why Big Mom got defeated, I think, ultimately, you know, because of this combination.
And that kind of feeds into the next section where she's falling down and she's trying to summon Prometheus and Hera, but they can't hear her.
Yeah, they can't hear her, and which leads to her downfall, ultimately.
Yeah. And so this next section, I was kind of confused about what happened to oh my gosh, I almost forgot his name. Conjuro's flame demon. I don't understand really how it faded away.
It's a little unclear. It kind of shows her piercing the bomb.
Yeah.
And then maybe like her force, whether it's Conqueror's Haki or Armament Haki, it deactivated the Devil Fruit in a way, right? Where it just kind of killed the bomb, if you will.
Maybe. I mean, it kind of... It might be like it was programmed by Conjuro to set off the bombs, and it saw one of the bombs being set off, and it... I don't know. And it kind of fulfilled that mission. Yeah. That was the most kind of disappointing part to me about it. I thought that Big Mom would like try and... There was a theory going around that she was gonna take that and make it a homie.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of feel like her fight was cut short in some respect, because there's so much more she could have done with her abilities, you know, which didn't happen. But that would have been a cool theory for sure. But from what I can tell, it looks like the bombs are out. That threat's gone now.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
But it kind of shows the point that if Big Mom was not at Wano, I think the raid would be going a lot worse for the samurai.
How do you mean?
I mean, just everything she's done. Like, she took out page 1. She did this. She's just kind of been all over the place in this.
Released Luffy from prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with her character.
It's like that Always Sunny in Philadelphia clip. She's the wild card.
She's the wild card. And she's also a loser in the sense, like, she's trying to put the blame on Roger. You know, like...
That's true.
She's like, are you listening, Roger? Why did you have to go and say all that? The whole world bought it. The Great Pirate Era, your time was up, so it didn't affect you. All those brats come flooding in looking for their chance to shine, and you left us to deal with it. So it's like, okay, you went from saying, oh, this is a tickle attack, to like, how dare you, Roger, I curse you. Look what you brought up this generation, which is taking me down.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she doesn't have any sense of personal responsibility. Like, she's still like a little kid in that respect, where she blames Pudding, she blames Chiffon, she blames Lola, she blames everybody else for her issues, and now Roger for whenever she messes up. Like, she lost, she's a failure. She never became Pirate King because she just couldn't do it, you know? She gave up. She's a fat, lazy person who just wanted to indulge herself rather than to have the will to succeed, like the supernova, you know?
Yeah. That's nicely put with her character. But as she's falling down, we kind of get to see where kind of people are during the in Onigashima. We see Chopper's still on the live floor. Who cares?
Nobody, yeah.
Robin and Brooke, it looks like, are still running to the basement. And then the most interesting one for me, it looks like Zoro, last time we saw him, was dealing with that Grim Reaper. And he looks even worse right now. And it looks like he's like falling off of Onigashima.
Yeah, I wonder if Sanji is gonna, because they didn't show Sanji at all in these panels. I wonder if he's gonna wake up and fly to save him potentially.
Maybe. I mean, Frankie was heading over that way. I think it was last chapter.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then we see the Orochi, Kurosaki. That still hasn't been concluded, but at least the bomb thing was concluded. The Kage fight concluded. And now we have Big Mom, it seems to be concluded too. So things are moving along pretty consistently, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say one of the most important fights resolved this chapter, the Raizo and Fukurakuju fight.
Yeah. So
do you think that whole thing was just a waste of time or a waste of panels?
Oda just likes to laugh.
That's true. That was like the gag fight. But I don't know. I expected a little bit more somehow. But
well, I think also just to show the willpower. I mean, I may be reading too much into it, but he was the loyal one who survives the flames, the suffering, to be loyal to his master, you know, and the other guy sold out, you know, and became closer to Orochi, you know, kind of just showing willpower and loyalty correspond. He's the stronger person at the end of the day, you know, and I'd say that's that. I mean, like, he has a better work ethic than Big Mom, you know, and when you see Big Mom like flying, like, she still complain, what is it, where is it, does the country hold some of the answers? This is so frustrating. Kid Law will never forgive you for this. You better not think this is enough to kill me. But I mean, that's the thing, is like, she's been so all over the place, but I think that matches her personality. Like, oh, this is a tickle. Oh, it's Roger's fight. Oh, wait, you actually think this is enough to kill me? No, it's not. It's like, oh, I only thought it was a tickle, Big Mom. And then she hits the ground. Who knows? Maybe it was enough to kill her. No, I'm joking. But I do see some people say, like, oh, well, she's probably not KO'd. Well, we don't know, one. Two, that still doesn't mean they got the W, right? Like, they didn't get KO'd, and they knocked her off the island, and she can't fight anymore. That's basically the equivalent of a KO, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think she's coming back.
On Onigashima?
No, I think she's done for this arc. Because once Oda writes the victors, you usually don't have to deal with them. But I mean, I trust her word, because I mean, this explosion does not look as bad as Pell's explosion, and Pell survived that.
That's true. Wait, did she fall in the ocean or the island? It's kind of hard.
I think she fell in the hole that Law made. So
okay. Oh, gotcha,
that's on the mainland of Wano. It's just outside the flower capital.
I could see her like crashing into the poneglyph, actually. Now that I think about it, like it might be in some cave down there, and she'll like literally land on top of it.
Yeah, that would answer a question if the country holds any of the answers.
Maybe that will KO her, the poneglyph she's been looking for.
Yeah.
She just like collides right into it.
Yeah. But it's interesting that she said that the least you could have done was tell us about the One Piece before you croaked, referring to Roger. And it is real, right? So even she is kind of doubting it. Whereas you have someone like Whitebeard who proudly proclaims that it's real before his death. So it just kind of shows the difference between the two characters and what if Big Mom were to die here, it's in direct contrast with Whitebeard.
Yeah, and like I'll just be straight up. I wish he would die here. Like, I wish this would be the end of her. Like, I don't want to see her character anymore, to be honest. It's not because I hate her. It's just, like, come on. At this point, you know? It's, I don't know. I know it's controversial. It's just, I think 3 arcs, I don't know if I have it in me for her character, to be honest. But I will say there is, like, a difference in kind, though, between Whitebeard and Roger and her, like you were saying. Because I think, like I said, she gave up. She had this huge intel network, and she still couldn't access the knowledge of where all the poneglyphs were and how to get the Raftel or what's even on there. So the one that's like known for her intel and for knowing everything, she still couldn't know where Raftel is, showing that to be the Pirate King, it's more about willpower and dreams rather than like strength or intelligence, if you will.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good contrast. And then look who defeated her, Law and Kid, right? Like they didn't know more than her, and individually they weren't stronger than her, but they still took her out, you know?
Yeah. One thing that I will say that I wish Law and Kid were KO'd at the end of this, like Sanji and Zoro were in their fights. Just like on the ground. You can kind of see it with Kid, but Law's still sitting up. And
yeah.
But they need to be they're done for the arc.
I agree, but Law's crew is a crew of doctors, and they can immediately like provide care for them, you know?
Yeah, but you can't you can't just. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say you can't throw a pill down someone's throat and make them better.
Oh, yeah, that would be lame. It's not like that's happened this arc.
Thanks, random mink doctor.
Yeah. The goat. The literal goat.
The literal goat.
Yes. I mean, not enough for them to be at like fighting level, but maybe enough for them to be conscious and move around kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if it's a crew of doctors, you could theorize. I mean, if Luffy got back up too by eating, but let's not get into the specifics of medical science in this series, you know. But
Oh, I don't think that there's any consistency in the medicine. I think that's why Chopper's dream is so nebulous. He wants to cure all the diseases. Who knows? He might be able to with just some random thing now.
With the pill.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You just need the pill.
The goat. The goat already fulfilled Chopper's dream.
Exactly. Man, we are so negative this chapter, even though we both kind of enjoyed it. So
yeah.
But it is going to be cool to see after this chapter where, how can I say, like, Kin and Law are getting credit for taking down a Yonko, defeating a Yonko, which is pretty insane because we kind of thought at the very least it'd be multiple Supernova getting credit for just taking down one Yonko, which is Kaido. But that's not the case. It's just two taking out one, which is means probably that they'll be around the similar bounty as Luffy, if I had to say. Unless Luffy just gets credit for defeating Kaido 1v1, right? Then he'll be even higher, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, that is kind of an interesting thought because he is setting up this dynamic 1v1, and everybody's going to be like, whoa, he beat the rumor that 1v1 bet on Kaido, but Luffy actually won that, and then maybe as a result, he only gets credit for fighting Kaido on the rooftop, basically.
Yeah, and I think Law and Kid would get credit for Big Mom, but they would split the increase that Luffy will get from Kaido between the two of them.
So maybe Zoro, Killer, and Yamato and the Scabbards don't get any credit for what they did for Kaido.
No.
Yeah, that seems about right, because One Piece isn't always consistent with people getting the proper credit in their bounties.
Yeah.
You know?
And really, who's to report it? It would only be kind of CP0. And they've been...
Yeah,
they haven't really seen what's going on, really. Which kind of disappointed me. I wish we had seen, like, when Big Mom was falling through, I wish we had seen, like, a shot of, like, Izo and CP0 reacting to it.
Oh, I don't think Izo's reacting to anything right now, except the finger going through his chest right now. But I think...
you think he's on Drake level?
No, lower.
That's blasphemous.
Come on, let's be real, man. I don't want to get in the power scale right now, but I think they are probably going to show reaction because they're like, there's no way those two are getting taken down, even though all the commanders have been taken down. So they're going to be like, oh shit, they've been taken down. Maybe we should call in some more people, kind of thing, you know?
Maybe, but who knows, like, if even this information's going to get out. Like, the only way that the other information got out was with the Marys. So we haven't seen an announcement like that in a little bit. So
well, maybe we'll see it next chapter, and I'm sure the Marys captured this, and then you also have the one CP0 agent chilling in the dining room.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, he's next to the Marys, and then he tells the other agents what's going on, basically. So, which I think, logically, if I was the world government, I'd be like, okay, we have one Yonko down, send in, like, a lot more people, because we need to capture them, basically. You know, like, this is our chance to move in.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings us into the next couple panels with Zunisha, right? So,
yes.
And Yamato, so you can take that.
Yeah, so we see Momo and Yamato, conveniently the hole that Big Mom blew up in the basement just so happened to be right next to Momo, so Yamato and Momo could talk. But Momo hears Zunisha, which we predicted from the previous chapter, where he said that he was hearing someone. So he recognizes that it's Zunisha, and Yamato knows of Zunisha because she read about him in the journal, and they both know that Zunisha was Joy Boy's companion from 800 years ago. So that just opens a whole can of theories that I haven't even explored yet, because that's just a whole rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, and maybe we can potentially do a theory video since we're on break coming up and everything. What that can possibly be. And yeah, I mean, I think there's kind of the question of serious crime in reference to who, like the world government's perspective or just like humanity's perspective. It's kind of hard to say.
If it relates to
at that point.
Fishman Island and Joy Boy's promise from there, like,
Yeah, there's a lot more, and I really need to study more on the Joy Boy thing. It's funny how to use the term study because like this lore can get crazy sometimes.
yeah.
But it is interesting how Yamato's like Sunisha's getting pretty close now. So we might, let's see, next chapter, probably an update with the CP0 guys, you know, on Onigashima, and then probably an update where Sunisha's doing with the world government ships, and then probably an update with Luffy v Kaido or Zoro and the Reaper, basically. Those are kind of the couple things I think going on.
Yeah.
Chapter, if I have to guess, you know.
Yeah, I think we might go back to Luffy versus Kaido in earnest now. Although we're probably going to get... We still need Kaido's flashback, which I don't think would be next week.
Yeah, it's definitely right around the corner. So one thing we have to kind of talk about power scaling because Yonko just went down, you know, and okay, yeah, she's not KO'd, she got defeated. Okay, that's an L. Let's just be real about this, you know. Do you think her performance is unimpressive as a whole compared to expectations of the community of how they view the Yonko, or just your own personal expectations of her strength? Because just objectively speaking, she's only taken damage from Law and Kid. Law and Kid were never KO'd. And another aspect in favor of Kid, too. Kid was taking damage from Hawkins during this fight, and he still wasn't KO'd, right? Compared to, and then let's contrast that with Kaido, right? Where Kaido took a lot of damage from all those various people, and he's carrying a whole island simultaneously. So, thoughts on that?
I mean, personally, I'm not disappointed with Big Mom's performance. Because there's just so many things that there were so many things that she did that, I mean, they did survive them, but Law and Kid are pretty powerful too. So I would say that if she were to go into like her hunger mode, it's so weird that we have these different like modes for Big Mom's, like just what her attitude is at the time, like mother mode, hunger mode. But I felt she was more threatening in hunger mode. But that also might be just because of the visuals, because she was all skinny and she just looked crazy. But it was against a smaller group and a less powerful group, because you had, it was what, Chopper, Brook, Jinbei, and Nami.
Jinbei. Yeah.
Carrot,
I guess.
No, Carrot was KO'd from the Sulong thing.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Right.
But but yeah, even then she was kind of not doing that great. But that might be because to hunger mode. But I think Big Mom's weakness is that, like, ever since she was little, she had like just super strong defenses. And it's kind of like Blackbeard, where like they don't react well to pain, really. Like they don't know how to handle it compared to like Kaido or Luffy or anyone. So,
and I will say one thing in Big Mom's favor, she did fight someone with a hard counter, like let's say Aokushi versus Akainu. It's kind of like an elemental advantage there when you think about it with her ability. Because I think if Law did this to Kaido, it wouldn't really do anything. Because his strength is all in him. He doesn't need to do vocal commands, you know? And I think that's part of it. And maybe she was shocked like someone could weaken her defenses in such a unique way. I mean, she's probably only fought one person like this.
Yeah, because Law can just literally attack her from the inside out.
And yeah, this is the first the world government wants, you know?
Well, you think. But, I mean, it's probably a good guess. We kept thinking the Luffy's fruit. But, I think it's either one of those two.
At the very least, Sophie wanted it, you know?
Yeah, unless they're going after the Queen's fruit. Because he can launch himself like a snake.
So do you think Big Mom fell on Queen, potentially? Like he got knocked off Onigashima and then Big Mom fell on him?
Oh, there's no way that Queen would survive that bomb explosion.
It's a war. A lot of people can die. But I do kind of want to say, though, I think... I mean, I don't know. You could... I would like to hear your thoughts on this. How people say they're stronger admirals and weaker admirals. I would say they're stronger Yonko and weaker Yonko, and I would put Big Mom at the lower end of the scale after this whole thing, basically. I think Kaido's clearly stronger, even though they've been shown to be at equal terms. I just kind of think at this point there's kind of like a higher scale of admirals and a higher scale of Yonko, and Big Mom just happens to be at the lower end. I don't think you can use the argument she wasn't KO to cover up like how she performed here, to be honest.
I agree with you on that. I mean, when we did our rankings, in terms of Yonko, we put all three of us put Big Mom over Blackbeard. But would you say that you would change that now?
Yeah, I think I would after this, especially if you have a fruit that's a hard counter to Big Mom, and I think Blackbeard has a couple hard counter fruits, because Whitebeard was stronger than her. He has Whitebeard's fruit, and his Yami Yami fruit. Hey, you know, like that's a hard counter to what she has too. So I would put Blackbeard over Big Mom at this point, but I would also put Aokiji and Akainu still over her at this point too. Maybe Kizaru. I have to think about that a little bit, but I think even Kizaru has a chance of being over her at this point.
I mean, it all depends. But I mean, there's definitely the argument that can be made, and I know. I don't know. I'm more upset about it kind of ending like this, more so than I was last week. Because last week it just kind of seemed like... I feel if we cut out like everything before she fell down the hole, I don't think it would make her look... I think it makes her look worse now. Like having all this stuff.
Yeah. And I kind of, like I said, I prefer she died here. I mean, I that's my personal preference, and who knows, maybe later on I'll recant this later on. Like, oh no, it was good she stayed in the story. But, I don't know, I just kind of prefer she, you know, like the trigger thing, and she just got ripped apart kind of thing. But, which didn't happen, you know, and I think it would have kind of put more respect on her character if something wild and crazy happened like that, which led to her going down instead of just her straight up losing a 2v1, you know. And I guess that's just kind of my whole point there. I think Oda, maybe in our next video we could talk about what's Oda going to do with Big Mom from here on out, but yeah, like I said, it just doesn't seem super impressive. It would be interesting if she did get knocked out, though, because we don't know what happens when she gets knocked out. Like, what happens to Whole Cake if she were to get knocked out, kind of thing. Like, all the souls she's been gathering all these years just get released, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in Whole Cake, she was kind of knocked out when she went into her, I don't know what mode to call it, when she saw the picture break.
Yeah.
But we kind of saw her knocked out, but not really. Like, this seems like a KO. So, yeah. But I have. What do you think is going to happen with Zunisha in terms of what? Because Momo can hear Zunisha, and I assume Zunisha can hear Momo, and Momo can command Zunisha. So do you think that Zunisha would help with Onigashima going toward the capital?
I think Momo might order him to either help bring down the island or open the borders of Wano, potentially. I know, like, kind of the instinct is, like, he's just destroyed the ships. But I think you and I have talked about this before. I think it would be kind of lame if Oda just destroyed all the ships. And it just got rid of the three. It would be kind of like a Deus Ex Machina. Like, you could destroy some, but the world government isn't that stupid just to send a bunch of fodder, which means probably Lucci and all them they send, maybe even an admiral. Who knows? Maybe Oda's going to surprise us. And
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lucci's on the ship. And Kaku.
And so Oda's just not going to own them like that. You know, that'd be so disrespectful. He clearly cares about their characters. You know, and we saw when Jack tried to take down Zunisha, he almost did it with just a couple cannons. You know, Zunisha's not in the best health. And if you were to take the movies for anything, when Lucci did that attack in Stampede, you know, against Douglas Bullet, that was kind of an island-sized attack in terms of, like, destroying all that metal that came down, you know, defending Buggy. So
I thought we weren't gonna power scale with the movies.
Hey, that I'm not power scaling. I'm just talking about, like, that's the closest thing we have to show what he's capable of. Because we haven't seen him use an attack post-time skip, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I could see him opening the borders. I can also see Zunisha dying because in 800 years, you know, and he's weak. But he might, like, sacrifice himself, kind of like Oars, right? He might be, like, kind of the modern day, the most recent example of Oars from Marineford kind of thing, where he dies in the process to help Wano in a significant way.
I thought it was unclear if Oars died. Oars Jr.
Details. But yeah. I think...
I get what you mean.
Yeah, and maybe also if he goes down here, then the Minks can coexist with Wano, you know? Where the civilizations are linked, because remember, there was that bigotry in the Odin's flashback towards the Minks and everything like that. And their whole thing is, like, they hate humans, and then they interact, and they're one people again, kind of thing, too. So there's definitely a couple ways he can deal with that.
Yeah.
So... but aside from that, though, it was a really good chapter,
Yeah. The more we talk about it, the more it's okay. It's not...
If it's a good chapter.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, we're so negative today. It's fine.
Not as negative as some people are going to be about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those people are out there. But anyways, we'll wrap this up, and we'll try to get a video out for the next break that's coming up. Like the video, subscribe, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for listening. Peace.
See ya.